Brilliance Audio.
A Bend of Light by Joy Jordan Lake, performed by Elizabeth Evans. Prologue. Pelican Cove, late autumn 1950. The body knocked deep burgundy leaves from the maples as it fell, flailing, from the third-story window of the inn and down past the trees. Rain droplets from the branches caught the light, haloing the shoulders and head on their descent. Up the slope from the inn, a young woman froze in place where she'd been kneeling, her camera gripped in both hands. Her only prayer until a fractured second ago had been the perfect shot, to capture the beauty of this place on Kodachrome that she'd develop herself. A beauty so stunning, so startling. Now the young woman found she could not move, the camera still in front of her face as if it might shield her from what she'd just seen, as if she might rewind the spool of film and time with it. Even as it landed, the body looked the perfect part of the saint, arms outstretched in a gesture of welcome, face upturned and strangely serene. Silence, for several long seconds after the fall. Then, nothing but the swoosh of a great cormorant's wings as it dropped from the pines, and a whisper of leaves as they spiraled down. Now, two separate sounds shattered the quiet at the same instant, a gasping, choking intake of air from the young woman as she tried to scream, and, yards away near the road, the whimper of a young child who'd hardly spoken for days. Chapter 1. The previous week. For all her dread in coming back here to this place, this rock-bound, sea-pounded village, she'd forgotten how much she'd once loved it. Edging the long blue nose of her roadster close to the harbor, Amie Stilwell rolled down her window to listen. After all her training during the war to focus only on what she could see, down to the splinter of a detail, she'd forgotten how much this place's pull on her involved sound. The bell buoys were tolling, their low tones rolling over the water. A loon called his 3 notes of longing, the "I'm here, here, where are you?" Waves splashed and fizzed and sucked at the boulders on the shoreline. The parts of her that the war had damaged and hollowed out slowly shifted a little. Perhaps the sounds here, and the day's waning light on the ocean, how could she have forgotten that silver, were stirring something inside her that had been silent and still for too long, coaxing something dead back to life. A soft whine to her right made her turn. Putting out a gloved hand, she opened her palm as the dog lifted his paw to her. "Nope, we aren't looking back, Hopkins. This will be good. A fresh start." Hopkins barked once, a valiant, full-throated effort for such a small dog. His tail, a fluffy white feather duster sort of affair, swept back and forth. "Exactly," she said. Tossing back the blue scarf at her neck, she reached into the camera bag for her Deerdorf with its most powerful lens. "And this is how we'll survive." A maroon car purred past, its paint so new it glowed against the wet road. The driver, his fedora pulled low and scarf wrapped high, appeared to be paying little attention. His gleaming right side nearly brushed the roadster's front left as he swept past. Amie leaned out her window to shout at the man, "Careful!" But the car ahead careened from one side of the road to the other, its driver's silhouette never twitching or turning. Oblivious to how close he'd come to a collision, he'd not heard, maybe not even seen her. Easing her car farther onto the road's shoulder, Amie slipped the strap of the camera over her head, and with a flat hand to signal Hopkins to stay, she opened her door. Her boots sank deep into damp leaves as she slid from the car. But at least she'd had the good sense back in D.C., even in her days, to replace her tweed suit and nylons with wool socks and dungarees. The suit, in fact, she'd stripped off as soon as she got in last night from the dinner, zippering the thing off right there at her D.C. apartment's threshold, right there in the hall. Still livid after her boss's announcement.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?